It was a strange night. I couldn't figure out what to do or what not to do. It was my wedding night, and my bride said, "Don't you dare touch me. I'm in love with someone else. This marriage was forced upon me. Remember, no matter what you do, you'll never win my love, and I will never love you." Tears welled up in her eyes. I stood there, shocked and confused, staring at her like a fool, trying to make sense of what had just happened. When nothing made sense, I got up and went outside to calm myself. I took a deep breath in the cool air and tried to reassure myself that maybe time would change things. I was terrified. Terrified of society, terrified of my family. I belonged to a middle-class family where incidents like this could destroy one's honor. Many thoughts swirled in my mind. What if she leaves in the morning and doesn't come back? What if she tells her family that I'm incapable or demands a divorce? At one point, I thought about forcing my right as a husband. After all, she was legally married to me. But my conscience wouldn't allow it. I tried to talk to her, but I couldn't bring myself to beg for the affection of a woman who had rejected me so blatantly. To ease my heavy heart, I thought to myself, if she loved someone else, why did she agree to this marriage? Why didn't she tell me earlier? I would have ended this alliance before it even began. My life wouldn't have been ruined. I had spent all my savings on this wedding. Anyway, the next morning she left for her parents' house without saying a word. 3 days passed without any communication. Then her mother called and said, "Son, aren't you coming to take your bride back home?" Reluctantly, I went to bring her back. Even then, we didn't exchange any words. We returned to my home in complete silence. At home, she would talk on the phone every night, either on the terrace or in another room. I never asked her who she was talking to, nor did I care. Once I asked her if she wanted a divorce. She said, no. Other than that, I never questioned her or interfered in her phone conversations. 5 months passed like this. I would return home exhausted from work, often eating out because I couldn't bear the awkward silence at home. One day she asked me, "Don't you ever feel anything when you see me?" I replied, "I had control over my desires before marriage, so why wouldn't I have it now?" But that night was different. While I was asleep, my phone rang. It was a call from a friend who told me, "Your wife is at such and such hotel with another man." I didn't believe him at first, but when I didn't find her at home, my anger boiled over. I felt like my head was going to explode. I kept her dignity intact and didn't tell anyone, but she hadn't respected mine. I went to the hotel and saw her sitting with another man. I called out to her and said, "Let's go home." She silently followed me. At home, I slapped her hard, so hard that the imprint of my fingers was left on her face. "You can't stay in this house for another moment," I said. I got into the car to drop her off at her parents' house. But on the way, my anger cooled and my mind started working again. What would I tell her family? That their daughter had done such a thing? So instead, I took her to a hotel that stayed open late. We waited there until morning, sitting in silence. She stared at the ground the entire time. The next morning, I dropped her off at her parents' house. After that, I neither heard from them nor reached out to her. Time passed and 4 years went by. I remarried and was blessed with a son, but sometimes memories of the past haunted me. One day, while returning from work, a car rear-ended mine. Angry, I stepped out to confront the driver, only to see a familiar face. It was the same man I had seen with my first wife at the hotel. He recognized me and said, "How's your wife doing?" His words left me stunned. I decided to talk to him, so we went to a nearby cafe. Over tea, he revealed that he was actually my wife's classmate, and she considered him a brother. Her love had been for someone else, and after our marriage, she was trying to end that relationship. He also told me about a letter she had written, in which she said she had accepted her husband's love and decided to leave her past behind. But the man she loved had taken his own life after receiving the letter. I was shocked. Time had softened my heart, but this revelation made me want to see her again. When I went to her house, her sister directed me to a room in the back. The room was a heartbreaking sight. She sat on the floor, disheveled and unkempt, clutching a twig in her hand. She was writing and erasing my name on the ground repeatedly. I tried to lift her up, but she broke down in tears. Seeing her in that state, my heart ached. I helped her into my car and brought her to my home. When my current wife saw her, she asked, "Who is this?" I replied, "I'll explain everything later." I asked her to take a bath and gave her clean clothes. When she came out, she looked like the same bride from our wedding night, but her eyes were filled with regret. I said, "I swear by your purity, I forgive you. Please forgive me too." She collapsed to the floor, crying uncontrollably. I helped her up and said, "Everything will be fine now." This story reflects the moments that can change lives. It shows how patience, love, and forgiveness can transform relationships. Though the beginning was marked by distrust and turmoil, the husband's resilience and the wife's eventual realization brought them closer. Their story is a testament to how misunderstandings and challenges can be overcome with compassion and perseverance.